Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry it's a little bit later than normal today. I decided to kick off some of our 0 to D's this week with sorry, someone just sent me a weird text. Anyway, so we decided to kick off 0 to D's this week with a deck that I'm working on, sort of on a personal note. People that know me sort of in person probably know that I've been working on this deck for a little bit now for my girlfriend. She really likes casting things like Thoughtseize and Inquisition, but really likes doing sort of a linear strategy right alongside it. And so I've been trying to design a bit of an aggro, black-red aggro deck that has Thoughtseize in it and stuff. And the main reason for this being the way that it is and being vampire specifically, is that she really likes vampires, like the lore behind them and all that stuff. She's really enjoyed the stuff reading about it and in Magic, as well as just other lore outside of that. So I've wanted to try to build a deck that she would enjoy, sort of along those lines. And so this is one of the versions that I have that I've started with, and I think this is a good deck for 0 to D's because it's one that I've been like slowly working on anyway, and it just works as far as like if I'm trying to do decent with it. That's kind of the idea of 0 to D's, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and stick with this, I think, for at least the time being, and see how good we can do with it. There are a couple different versions that I've had. One of the main ones is this one, which is sort of a Blood Moon version. Sort of the black-red mid-range version of the deck that has Blood Moon as sort of a I can just win the game if I want to kind of thing. I have a couple different ones. I sort of have an aggro version that's doesn't have any of the Thoughtseizes or anything in it, which kind of takes away from the deck. But I built this deck to look at it and see what I could build with it, and see where it could be. And then I switched over to a Madness version, so it's a little bit focused more on the cards that have like Madness and stuff, obviously. So like Fiery Tempers and Alms of the Vein, stuff of that nature. And then as well as like Discard Outlets, and then Liliana the Veil and stuff like that. And then the sort of more mid-rangey version, which is very similar, actually. It just doesn't have the Blood Moons, and it has a more low-to-the-ground curve. But this is the version that has performed at least the somewhat best as far as I've been concerned. So that this is the one we're going to go ahead and run through it. So a couple changes, or at least a major change I'm making to 0 to D's going forward is I'm no longer going to be playing leagues with the deck. I'm going to be playing the individual constructed open play, and we're going to be in the tournament practice area, and we're going to play up to a maximum of 5 games. So if we win 3 games before we lose 3 games, then it's considered decent. We can move on. And if we lose 3 games before we win 3 games, then that's kind of when we move on to our next deck of the week, and then that deck goes back into the queue for the following week. It's essentially just the same as 3-2ing a league, or not doing 3-2 basically. But the difference is that since I'm jumping in, even though I'm jumping into friendly leagues, you only make so much back if you don't do well enough. And so it's kind of becoming cost negative, basically. It's like completely not effective to just sort of jam through games in leagues when it's just like costing me money in the long run. And I feel like as of right now, that's not necessarily something I want to continue doing for the Monday streams, just because on Monday at least we play a lot of memes, and like that getting that to going forward and not have to worry about spending money would be awesome. So the other thing is that I've played a lot of the tournament practice league or like games and stuff, and we see a lot of different variations of decks, and it's kind of sweet just seeing like all these different things that you can see. So we're going to jump into it with this, and we're going to try it out, and hopefully it does as good as I want it to. So plus this also, I mean, it sets up just the same as like a league too, where I don't have to worry about someone I don't have to worry about the time in between rounds or anything like that. So, okay. So my opponent won the die roll, and they kept their hand. Now this hand is actually pretty okay. If I can get one more land, I think this is fine to keep. Excuse me. It looks like my opponent's on blue-white something. Nope, I lied. So, this could be mill. This could also be Esper or something. That's the other thing about this, is it's so much harder to play through these leagues, or to play through this sort of style of gameplay, in these sort of open, constructed events and stuff. Because there's, like, just so many different decks you can play against. Like this, which looks like Esper stuff. But my opponent kept... Let's see, how do they... Serum Visions. 2 cards on top, so they're likely lands. So I think I take the Fatal Push here. Because my game probably is all about this, one of these heirs sticking around. Obviously they drew that. And I assume they're playing Tassiger here. Which means we're going to take a bit of a beating, but I think that's something we can afford. And so now they have the option of Fatal Pushing this, and they definitely can. We're not unaware of that situation. Yep, so we kind of knew that was going to happen. So I'm going to play the Lord now, and then next turn without removal spell, hopefully I can... Well, see, they can just play the Gourmet Gangler too. Jesus. We can play Air and then Feast of Blood to kill whatever creature they have. Never mind. They're just going to hand attack us right when we have our removal spell. And now they're going to cast Gurmag Angler, it looks like. This is going to be a quick game. Thankfully, we can gang up on something at least. Down comes the souls. Yep. Okay. My opponent was not ready to fight through my entire match, I guess. They just conceded. I'm going to go ahead and say that probably doesn't necessarily count as far as winning a game. That's going to be the one concern here is people just throwing away the game because they can. My opponent is deciding whether or not to play first. Yeah, I think this hand is very good. Tron, okay. That could be tough, but we're also a Blood Moon deck. Ooh, it's blue Tron, though. Okay. The nice thing about this deck versus other sort of mid-rangey decks dealing with Tron is that obviously, yeah, we have wow, they just said natural Tron, huh? Obviously we have Blood Moon and stuff, but also we just put a decent clock into play. Like, it's so hard for them to deal with that sometimes. Plus, like, this card right here is like such a great anti-Oblivion Stone card. I think I take the Cyclonic Rift, and I'll take the Supreme Will. Expedition map, sure. So they're likely going to go get an island, but at this point, island might not be very good. Oh, they've got Arboro, sure, whatever. And it's just because, like, Remand is so lackluster right now. And we're putting on such a heavy clock, too, that I don't think it matters too much. And they didn't play anything. They had 2 lands in hand. Oh, they played the power plant. I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm just going to kill my opponent. That's the other thing that's nice about Kalastria Healer, is that if you have a removal spell and your opponent doesn't really have anything, you can still get reach out of it. Like Fatal Push can just $100 Thoughtseize. What? Yeah, apparently my opponent didn't realize what I was doing. Okay, so Damping Spheres come in. Fulminator Mages come in. I don't think Slaughter Games come in. It's not generally very good against them. Okay, just win the match, sure. My opponent just not ready to dive into it there, I guess. Maybe this was a problem. Maybe this was a mistake, just doing the open tournament play or whatever. See, I've done this before, too. Like, I'll play open tournament matches or whatever, and I never have this issue where people are just, oh, I just concede after game 1, whatever. Or, like, mid-game 1. But yeah, that sounds pretty good. It's got a nice curve, too, so that's what matters. And there are dogs barking in my house, of course. And now there's another dog in the house barking. Sorry, I was muted there for a second. I was trying to block out all the sounds of dogs barking, but they seem to have not stopped. So, just to clarify, I've drawn like 4 lands in a row, or cards that just don't do anything, so pressuring this Lily is nearly impossible. My opponent still has a Spell Pierce in hand that I know about, and has drawn 2 fresh cards that I don't know about. Quite the exciting game. Neither myself nor my opponent really doing a whole lot, other than they just ultimated a Lily, so this game is probably over. Sure. And Abrupt Decay, sure. Yeah, I think I'm just going to lose this game. There's nothing I can really do against the emblem, so... Okay, so against decks like this, I take out the Feast of Blood just because it's bad against decks with full removal spells. Things like Thoughtseize are pretty bad, but other things that play to the board commit Faithless Lootings, or not Faithless Lootings, Fulminator Mages, Gatekeepers are pretty okay. Kolaghan's Command is pretty good. Maybe cut one of the Captivating Vampires. I would like to play first. Well, this hand has got some stuff. Yeah, I think I'll keep it. Being on the play, this is okay. Ideally, I'd rather have like a 1-mana spell as one instead of one of these lands, but what can you do? Because like throwing this back, if I had gotten this exact 6 minus a land, I'd be fine. So... Plus the extra lands I can discard to that, which is pretty good. So, assuming it's probably going to get traded off here for a removal spell, but my opponent not missing their blue mana for a while this game, which is good. Last game, they were stuck on mostly the blue-green plan and didn't really have a whole lot. They were stuck with like 3 blue cards in hand or something. Another Creeping Tar Pit, and... anything else? They're probably going to wait for me to discard something to get rid of that. Oh, nope. Okay, that one's not bad. The problem is that I know that they have things like Spell Pierce. But I think playing around it isn't... Well, I don't know. Sure. My opponent just not casting anything. Assassin's Trophy, that one. Sure. I think I just slam the Blood Moon now. Yep. And they just aren't winning under a Blood Moon. So that worked out. So then, do I like Blood Tribute on the draw? Just because I'm going to have to be a little bit more controlling and a lot less aggro this game. I could bring in Vampire Hexmage knowing they have creatures. Or not creatures, planeswalkers that I have to deal with. Alright, this hand is okay. Earlier interaction, some threats, that's kind of what I want. Thoughtseize me, yep. Takes the Fulminator Mage. Well, if my opponent's not going to get a threat out there, I will. Sure. Yep. Super worried about the Blood Moon. This one's probably losing its value over time. And I drew another one anyway. Sure. I think this configuration of this deck is perfect. Like, I really like the whole Blood Moon aspect with the aggression. It's just always been really good. So like that's the biggest problem with like against like Tron and stuff like that. Decks can play like Damping Spheres and Blood Moons, but if they don't put a clock on their opponent, then they're not doing anything. You need to have both, right? And so this deck presents both really easily. So I think you should just take one of the Snapcaster Mages. Just super worried about Blood Moon. Yep. Okay, they have a trophy and a Snapcaster Mage. The other thing about the way that this deck is built is because it's a Blood Moon style deck, it has a lot of resilience against things like Assassin's Trophy, which is something my opponent is currently playing that they're kind of sitting on because they know that since we're a Blood Moon deck, we have so many basics that it just doesn't matter. Targeting Opt, sure. This is one of the cards that I'm kind of skeptical on, just because it requires such a heavy mana investment, and a lot of the time your opponent will kill it once you've invested that mana. So, or he's going to kill it right now in response to my Kalastria Highborn. Yep. Yeah, and I'm okay with that. Go get another swamp. Put my bear into play. Pass the turn. So I know nothing about my opponent's last card. They have an opt, sure. They are extremely flooded though. They have so many lands in play. And I got rid of their only man land, so excuse me. They have another land. They have a Goyf. Sure. Except they know that I have this. Cast down that. Sure. Save targets, always yield. Yep, I'll pay a black for it. That's the other thing that I really enjoy about this deck is that in these sort of mid-range grindier decks, you can actually keep hand attack in, which can be super relevant in some matchups because you have Heir of Falkenrath just to turn any extra draws of those cards. Like right there, you saw my opponent had no cards in hand, and I drew an Inquisition. Normally that would suck, but just like filtering it into this was perfect. Scare of God. Sure thing, buddy. All right, and we're going to count that. The first two is just like 1, so this is like 2-0. That's kind of sweet. This deck is a lot better than I thought it was, and I really enjoy it. I think this deck is a lot of fun. It's probably not like super great or tier 1 or tier 2 or whatever you want to call it in Modern, but it's definitely got some legs to it. It's an aggressive deck that has like Blood Moon to back it up. And what's not to love about Blood Moon, huh? It creates these fair and interactive games of Magic. Yep, I think this hand is pretty good. It's just got a good curve. It kind of comes out of the gate pretty fast. That's what this deck wants. Is my opponent playing Burn? Yeah, it looks like it. They just went to my dome with the bolt. Okay, well, we have a pretty okay matchup against Burn, actually. Because they have to start pointing their burn spells at our creatures at some point. Plus, like, Kalastria healers and Feast of Blood and that kind of stuff. They're all, like, anything that says gain life is good against Burn. Oh, okay, it's this deck. Discard your hand. Sure. Lots of mountains. That's why they did it. Okay, so the other nice thing is that since Blood Moon is a super dead draw in this game and does nothing, I can actually cancel. Play Drana. Drana's better. So they get to draw a couple cards this turn. They have a Faithless Looting, sure. I don't know what's in my opponent's hand at all. But they've drawn and discarded a lot of cards. So there's a Fiery Temper, which looks like they're going to point at Drana. That makes sense. And Beaumont Courier, sure. Which I assume is rumbling in. No, staying back to block. Well, it's too bad it's not actually going to be able to do much. Ugh, dogs are barking again. So this is the biggest problem with this setup that my opponent had. They had Flame of Keld, so yep, they were just like super dead. Oh, they just conceded the match. Okay, of course. I would like to be on the play. That hand is bad, though. This hand's fine. And I'm on the draw. Or, no, I'm on the play. So that's not what I really want on turn 2. Unfortunately, it's not, I don't know, anything that would be super relevant. Verdict Catacombs. This could be some sort of Thoughtseize Inquisition deck. And I could be beating Inquisition or Thoughtseize. Got it. So they could just take my clock away. They could also just take the Blood Moon away. Either one works. Yep, they took my clock away, which makes sense. I'm sorry, this is Kalastria Highborn, not Kalastria Healer. Healer's the ally. So, Abzan, maybe? Play the Blood Moon now. And they're going to fetch for a basic. There's a Lily, sure. Yep. Geez, there's another Lily. Okay. Oh boy. My opponent has a lot of basics in play. They could just be on green-black instead of being on Abzan. Although, they probably are on Abzan. There's a Tireless Tracker. Well, I don't know. That's a lot of basics for Abzan. Unfortunately, that's going to get discarded to Lily, which is one of the main reasons why we cut it in a matchup like this. That and just all their creature removal prevents us from having more than one creature in play usually. These clues are really going to buy my opponent through the game, though. Bitter Blossom. Okay, they might actually just be on green-black then. Why didn't they attack there? That's super weird. Yeah, Bitter Blossom's been seeing a lot of play. Yeah, that one. Bitter Blossom has been seeing a lot of play in the green-black X decks. Mostly just the green-black one. Just because when it comes down, it like... Jeez, there's Lily. Get rid of my other creature, I guess. Wow. Just because it like sits here and it walks over all these slower decks. It's such a good card. I'm taking 8 this turn. Which means I need an answer right now. It's not going to do it. Okay. We cut Feast of Blood. We cut one of the captivating vampires. We cut the assassins. They aren't very particularly great. Maybe even cut a Thoughtseize. Bring in the Gatekeepers, the Vampire Hexmage, Kolaghan's Command, Fulminator Mage. Blood Tribute's pretty good. Cut a couple more of the hand attack spells. Just go a little bit deeper on the high end here. I would like to play first. This is really close as a one-lander. I'm going to keep it against my better judgment. I probably should have cut the Blood Moons too. I didn't even think about that. So they drew the Marsh Flats. Land? Oh. Dang it. Okay. Well, we'll take... We're going to take the Bitter Blossom just because we have answers to these Dark Confidants. Sure. Thoughtseize to take my other bolt away. Okay. They also kept hand attack in against us, which I find always kind of funny. For these types of games. Of course. You've cursed me again, Smoldering Marsh. And they drew Dismember. Okay. And they have a Tireless Tracker and... Okay. So I know the 2 cards in their hand. Yep. Destroy target artifact, deal 2 damage to your Tireless Tracker. Just don't want them drawing extra cards if I can afford it. Oh, they're playing Death Shadow. Interesting. Death Shadow plus Tireless Tracker is kind of interesting. Huh. That would explain why they have Windswept Heaths. And they have Dismember too. That makes sense. Okay. I thought they were just like, for some reason I didn't have enough Assassin's Trophies. Or I just wanted a quicker removal spell. But Dark Confidant, Bitter Blossom, Death Shadow. Do they have a way to just... They could have just killed me there. I'm kind of surprised they didn't. They had lethal in play. Oh, do they have lethal now? They do. Yep. Fancy. Interesting. Alright. 2-1. That's a fine. That's all fine with me. This hand is not good. We're going to go back with that one. Especially on the draw. This one's good. I actually want more action. I think I can draw another land before that. Oh boy, is this humans? Wait, what? Oh, spirit. Okay, sure. Sure. Supreme Phantom. Phantasmal image naming Supreme Phantom, sure. Well, the biggest issue with that, or at least that I can see, is that I'm just going to kill this. Because it's a phantasmal image. Collected company? Sure. This is kind of like a Ardex version of Grim Lavamancer. Sure. That's not good for me. Just to clarify. That's fairly bad. But this Kalitas might be pretty good, so. Are they keeping up Rattle Chains as their last card? Spirits might be a tough deck to fight through for this one. Sure. Yeah, unfortunately, there's really no way for me to live through this because I needed 2 of my creatures to die here, and I can't really do that. My opponent got me this one. We'll go into the sideboard and try again. So against spirits, I won the match. Okay. Well, my opponent got me in that one, so this one's going to be kind of the determining whether or not we need to work on it or not. Alright, this whole not playing leagues thing is probably a bad idea. Sure. We could just win this game on the back of Blood Moon. We won't. This is, I think, mostly a mono red deck, so although Drana coming down might do a whole lot for this, though, just because she's so powerful. Yeah, this deck is mono red, so Steam can... And I just keep drawing lands. There's no point in getting the Blood Moon out. It doesn't do anything. I don't think I can just die to my opponent either, so... Although, I don't know. This could just be like the exact turn this deck combos off. And I just don't know it yet. I've only played against one Steamkin deck in Modern, and it was not this version. So... Sure. My opponent's casting a lot of spells. Do they have another to bring back the Phoenix? They probably do, right? Some sort of lightning bolt or something? Oh, they have Faithless Footings. Yeah. That makes sense. Doesn't this automatically come back? Oh, the beginning of combat. Got it. Okay. Oh my gosh, that's also got risk factor in it. Jeez. And they have 2 Phoenixes. So that's going to be 6, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, I guess. If they cast 2 more spells, they cast 3 more spells, I die. Or if one of them is a bolt, that also does it. That's exactly lethal, actually, right? Because now it's 3 plus 8 is 11, plus 6 is 17, plus the 3 is, yeah. Yep. Oh, and they've got another bolt, too. Jesus. That was quick. That was kind of sweet, actually. I really liked the way that the deck worked. Okay. Yeah, my opponent sent me a message, but I can't really see it. Because I'm not in the game. Oh boy, that was sweet, though. Just kind of treat this like a burn matchup, I guess. That was turn 3. Yeah, that was pretty sweet from my opponent. Yeah, I'm going to keep this hand. This hand has a lot more earlier interaction. It actually does something. And take your Faithless Looting. Slow you down a bit. What do we got? Just played a mountain and passed. They've got that lightning bolt up, all suspicious like. And see, I know they've got the runaway Steamkin, and I want to kill that as soon as possible. There it is. I mean, this is just going to eat a lightning bolt, but we kind of have to do something. Oh, I didn't drop the Blood Moons. I should have done that. Dang it. Tormenting Voice, sure. Discarded a mountain, drew 3 cards. I would not have let me untap there. Doing some ritual stuff. Okay. There's a runaway Steamkin. Get that out of here. Paying costs for something, it looks like. Not sure what. Nope, not doing it. Bolt me. Bolt me. Okay, I'm at 12. Collective Brutality. That's a good one. 2 modes. The Drain and the Reveal Hand. Yep. Discarding the Blood Tribute. It's not likely to do anything this game. They have a Bedlam Reveler. Oh boy. Okay. Well, that means that this Olivia could be very good. If I ever get to that point in the game. But they're about to draw an entire new hand this turn. There it is. Big old beefy Reveler. They drew a mountain. And hold. Nothing. Okay. Yeah, Blood Moon not doing anything. I think I just go in to try and trade off with this Bedlam Reveler here. Not falling for it, huh? Dang it. Could really use a couple land draws here. My opponent's going to be casting a lot of spells this turn, so I apologize because it's probably pretty boring. Well, there's a Bedlam Reveler. 2 of those things is not good for me. But, like I said, getting an Olivia down to start stealing those things would be really good. So, but of course I'd have to play Olivia and have her survive a turn through Bolt galore on my opponent's side. Although they've only got 2 left, it looks like. They've already used 2. If they have a way to give the other one haste, that'd be really crappy for me. I love that this is like Mono Red Storm. Just doesn't have the Storm output. It has like the Steamkin finisher. And it also plays Risk Factor for some reason. Yeah, there's Risk Factor. No, you can draw 3. I need you to draw 3 this turn. Which really sucks, but gosh. And the Phoenix comes back. Yeah. A little too late there, bud. A little too late. I keep telling myself that this deck has enough lands, but I play games like this and it just seems like I don't have enough lands at all. Especially because I'm a Blood Moon deck. Hey, Nuketopia. Nuke Utopia, I apologize. How you doing? You missed this yesterday. We were playing a bunch of taxation decks. And I was like, nobody invite Nuketopia, would probably be upset. What do we got? You triggered. Yeah, something like that. You're catching us on the tail end of this one, and we're going to be playing Hedron Shift next. Which is bad. But whatever. To be fair, look at what we're doing now. Yeah, I made the mistake of keeping my Blood Moon in against a mono red deck. Yeah, you got it, bud. Alright, so real quick, I'm going to jump on a Be Right Back screen, and then I'll come back with Hedron Shift. See you guys in a second.